Morning.
Good morning. I have just booked our car for Brisbane.
Oh, it's sick.
I know, it's really good. It's one of those like electric ones.
Sick.
I know, it's
Where is
really
it?
good. It's outside.
Let's get the keys and go.
You don't need a key.
What do you mean?
You just need to use your phone.
No.
I know. I pulled some strings.
And dibs on first drive.
Jamie, give me a sec. My phone is on. Nice.
That's what. Oh.
No, this one.
What's that?
It's not an electric scooter.
I'm not riding that.
Yeah, you are.
No, forget it.
Look at it.
Forget it.
Fantastic.
Forget it. Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So if you haven't dropped this video a like already, then please do so for that intro because it left me with zero street cred and also feeling pretty travel sick. Today I want to talk to you about how to build a bigger chest, even if you have Pectus Carinatum, I'm saying that correctly like I do, or even if you have an uneven chest or just a small chest in general. Now I get a lot of comments on social media, especially from my chest training videos, from mainly guys, mainly bellends, of things like, why is your chest so small? Bro, you need to train your chest. The guy's got no chest. And I'm sure that you've probably heard all the nicknames under the sun, such as pigeon chest, no chest, girl titties. So I'm going to explain why and also try and help a little where I can the guys who struggle with chest development. Now these chest exercises that I'm going to take you through today will help you build more mass across the chest and help you feel the isolation and mind muscle connection as you're doing some of the pressing exercises more through the chest area and less on the shoulders and the triceps. And to also help reduce some of the visual signs and implications that come with Pectus Carinatum, such as the bony rib cage, the high pigeon chest, and also the visual pot belly. What I won't do though is change your rib cage structure or change the frame of your shoulders. Unfortunately, this is down to something called genetics. Now, unless you've tried all the exercises in this video and workout consistently for a period of time, then I'd advise against going for surgery, unless you have a severe case of pectus, which has been going on for some time. Now I know it can be hard to live with and it can be disheartening when you're putting hours into training, into your diet to see a lack of improvements across the chest area, or to be seeing improvements across the rest of the body, which then highlight the lack of improvement across the chest area. Now in today's workout, we are going to run through some of the exercises to build the chest area and put mass on across the chest, whilst also running through a warm-up that I like to use and also some posture corrections. These tips and hints will all help you to build a bigger chest area, whilst also making you more confident when it comes to taking your top off. So cue the workout. So as explained, what we are talking about today is Pectus Carinatum, which is the malfunction of the chest, categorized by a protrusion of the sternum and ribs, which is the opposite to pectus evacuatum. Here's a picture of me. You can see when I was a little bit younger and maybe when my chest was a little bit more prominent in terms of the rib cage actually sticking out. And I want to compare this now as well to two other quite well-known people, obviously in the wrestling industry. We've got Kofi Kingston, who has more so the pectus evacuatum, where he's missing that muscle tissue in the middle of his chest. And we've got another guy called, I think his name is the One Pec Man, who has a large amount of muscle tissue missing across the side of his chest here. I'm not too sure what this is down to. It's just to highlight how genetically you can be missing some parts of the chest due to these two conditions. Now, what we do have as I'm going through this video is we have the tendency for people who struggle with pectus of bad posture. So we usually hide our chest like you can see in this video here. Now, what this does, it makes things look a lot worse and only creates future problems, especially when it comes to posture. So the correct posture that we want to take is to pull the shoulders back and down and then squeeze the glute through so we don't have that dreaded anterior pelvic tilt. We also want to keep that chest nice and high, which I realise for some people is a little scary when you spent most of your life trying to hide it. Also, when you tend to hold this slouched over posture, it only makes us look worse and looks like you're carrying a 9-month-old child in your stomach. So another thing that is quite common is to have one side worse than the other when it comes to pectus and the rib cage than the other. It's nothing to worry about. Again, it's just your genetic makeup. But if it's really that bad and it's really bothering you, then you obviously can opt for surgery if it's affecting your mental state or even worse, your breathing. Now, this isn't something that's happened overnight that I've developed my chest to where I am now. But this workout that I'm about to run through is something that I've used over the years consistently to help overcome this condition. So firstly, I'm going to kick off with our warm-up, which is going to be vitally important. This is going to be shoulder dislocations. So what we're going to be doing is, more recently I've been using this wooden pole to complete shoulder dislocations for the shoulder mobility, which is really important before we begin and go into any pressing. First time through, try and find where your width is, about shoulder width apart. If you lack mobility for the shoulders, you will need to start a little wider and then slowly bring the hands in. Don't let your arms bend and don't try and go too narrow. Shoot for about 10 reps and we're going for 2 to 3 sets here. The second warm-up exercise that I'm going to go into is going to be to work the rotator cuffs. So what we're going to be doing is, before we go into pressing movements, I'll always warm up the rotator cuff muscles, because if you want to make progress in building your chest, nothing is going to hold you back further than a rotator cuff injury. So firstly, we'll just go through, retract the scapula, keep the elbows to the side and move in and out with some very light dumbbells, no swinging. And we're going to shoot for 10 reps. Then I'm going to go into this alternative, raising the elbows to parallel with my shoulders and again externally rotating the shoulders out. These will also help the posture, as the rotator and the three muscles that support the shoulder joints all come into play here. As I know too well, I've had piss poor posture due to wanting to hide my chest by being over slumped forward like I was showing before. You want to try and get away from this and have good, correct posture. Okay, so exercise 1 is going to be a dumbbell floor press, where we are shooting for about 4 times 8 to 10 reps here. First exercise, a key point I want to go through. I find first it's the easiest way to get the dumbbells up into the position is by bouncing them onto the knees and then pinging them back. Before I even start, you will see me pulling back the scapula to make sure I can really open up the chest and keep the shoulders out of it. The reason I'll tend to hit the dumbbell press from the floor and not the bench is for range of movement. I find, especially with pectus, that as soon as you go past a certain range, the shoulders just really take over, which is what we want to try and minimize. Secondly, the movement is made a lot more strict, because you can't be doing those hobo reps, i.e. bouncing them up. They're strict, paused and engage the chest a lot more. Again, shooting for 4 times 8 to 10 reps, taking about 2 minutes rest time between each working set. Our second exercise is going to be the incline dumbbell single arm press. Now firstly, I just wanted to show you this incorrect form. This is how I see a lot of people completing the incline press, with no real range of movement, just really jerking the weights about, and we're not really feeling the chest at all, and just a lot more on the shoulders. So what we really want to do with this movement is to benefit from working isometrically. I target both sides individually in a seesaw motion, which is great for balancing out either side of the chest. For example, if you're like me and your right pectoral is a little bit smaller than the left, this will help to force the weaker side to play catch up. If you simply do barbell work all the time, your stronger side will have a tendency to take over. It also allows for a lot better mind-muscle connection, which is key to growing a chest if it's a weaker point, as we can control and focus in on one side at a time. I feel I can also get a lot more range of movement working unilaterally whilst using a lighter load, which means we can overload the chest with less stress on the joints and the shoulders. Third exercise is going to be dumbbell pullovers. Again, with this one, we're going to be shooting for around 4 times 12 reps. There's a few key pointers that I want you to remember when it comes to going into the dumbbell pullovers. But firstly, I want you to remember you categorically will not alter the structure of your ribcage or make it larger. You may, however, develop the intercostal muscles that sit between the ribs. With this movement, you will look to drop the hips and pop the head back, which will help open up your chest a lot more and get a better, deeper stretch. Do not allow the hips to come up. I like to pick a point at the back of the gym sometimes and stay focused on that to keep my head pinned back at all times as I'm going through the movement, because what sometimes people tend to do is they'll bring the head up, bring the hips up to try and make the movement easier, and it just takes the emphasis off the chest, which is what we don't want. Moving into our fourth and final exercise, which is going to be the good old cable flies. I thought I'd kick off again by showing you some incorrect form. So with the cable flies, what we tend to see a lot of people doing is what I like to call the hollow chest, where they'll round the shoulders forward, push with the shoulders instead of the chest. For people with pectus, this is the exact opposite of what we want to do. With any of our chest exercises, we want to be remembering to pin the shoulders back, chest forward, and opening up the chest for engagement as much as we can. If you can imagine that we're trying to pull and keep the traps together as we go through the cable fly, i.e. scapular retraction and almost depression, you'll get a lot more out of the movement. You will also see me doing this almost more as a cable push than a cable fly. I just find, again, it keeps more the emphasis off the shoulder joint and onto the chest. I try and imagine I'm squeezing a 2p piece at the top of my chest every time I come down for the positive portion of the repetition. So I hope that video and workout was helpful, guys. I'll leave the full workout in the description below for you to save and continue to use. Just make sure that you're using it consistently at least once or twice a week. Again, this isn't going to change your genetics, the frame of rib cage, your size, your shoulders. It's just going to simply help to get better mind muscle connection and build that chest area. If you found this video helpful, then please drop it a like and a massive thumbs up below. And whilst you're down there, make sure, if you are new to my channel, to subscribe. It's that little red box with the bell button on. And I'll catch you in the next video.